A very warm welcome to the World of Lord Russell podcast talk show. And today's show is Merlin, the story of Manchester United's magical winger, which captures the incredible life journey of a former professional football player who played in the Football League for Millwall, Manchester United, Derby County, and Queen's Park Rangers, and was also capped 6 times for the England national team. He was also part of the 1977 FA Cup winning Manchester United side, who beat Liverpool in the final at the old Wembley Stadium to lift the grand old trophy. Yes, folks, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome on the show Gordon Hill. Welcome to the show, Gordon.
Thank you very much, Russell. It's nice to come on and, after all these years, so to speak, and have a nice chat.
Absolutely right. And I'm very much looking forward to it. And it's a real pleasure, an honour to have you on the show too, Gordon. It truly is.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. In 1971, let's start right from the beginning. In 1971, after leaving Longford School, you began your football career with Staines Town, who were then part of the Athenian League as a 17-year-old. And what do you remember about your short tenure at Staines Town, Gordon?
Right. Well, we're going to change the statistics a bit here.
Go on.
I went to a great school called Kennington Manor, and I did never play for Staines Town. I played for Southall. My brother Graham was at Chelsea, and I was at Queen's Park Rangers. And that's people said, well, you played for Staines. And I keep turning around and telling people, no, I didn't play for Staines Town. The only time I went to Staines Town was to play indoors with my brothers on a Thursday night. And
All the
then
records say you did. Strange, isn't it?
it is. And I have to put them right. The only time I went to
Rightly so.
Staines Town was when Millwall played them in the cup.
Yeah.
And I went.
Interesting story.
And I went. It was great. I went. I saw some great friends, and people that you remember as friends. We call them ships in the night.
Yeah, we do.
You say hello, bye-bye. But then it was great. And then the autobiography comes out that he played for Staines Town. No. And I tried to say it time after time. No. And they say, yeah, you started it. No. Yeah. So yeah. So the stats are wrong, but Southall was I played, and believe it or not, my big brother Sid was playing for Southall and asked me and said, come along training one night. And I was only, 15, I think, 15 or 16. And I went, okay, fine, great. And I used to go with him on a Tuesday and a Thursday because the semi-pro world was that. Tuesday, Thursday, and play on a Saturday. And so I went there and I trained. And even if I didn't train with the first team, I'd get a ball and have a kick about, come home in my brother's Ford Prefect or Perfect, as we call it. And that was it. And then after that, they said, would you stay? Tommy Tranter was Borough Road College, said to me, would you play for us? And I went, well, I'm not playing for any youth team. I'd already played for the youth teams and won the Middlesex Cup and the County Cup. So I said, yeah, okay, fine. And then I started to train 16. Within a few months, Dave Phillips from Millwall said, we're interested in him. Do you think he could come for a trial? So I said, well, where is it? They said, well, it's Millwall. And I said, well, I live on this side of the London, and Millwall's on the east side of London. I said, that's one hell of a trip. I'll have to ask my dad. So 11 and 12, I went, 11 and 12, I was at QPR, and I thought that was in London. Then I went to Southall, which was just on the outskirts of London. Then all of a sudden, turning pro, I went the other side of London.
His side, yes.
I thought, there's got to be a team my side, like Walton and Hersham or Weybridge or something like that I could play. But no. Brentford. Yeah, Brentford. My brother was at Brentford. My other brother at Chelsea as a youth, but that was it. And then that was it, really. And then, of course, when I got a chance to sign pro, I think any kid's dream is, I want to play. I've been offered a pro contract. You don't know what you're going to get, but a pro contract was a pro contract. So I went there and I played one reserve game, and Benny Fenton said, "I'm going to sign you, son. Will you sign?" And I went, "Yeah," and that's it. And I went there, and I would have been quite happy to stay there. I was, you learn the game very well at Millwall. It is tough, it is reality, and it is down to earth football. And your friends there you could count on. People lot say, "Oh, they're mad. These supporters are mad," but no, these people are genuine. And
Mm.
the players that I played with were some legends. Harry Cripps, um, Dennis, Dennis Burnett, um, Barry Kitchener, Brian King, all, and then of course I'd gone there where some really fabulous players had come before me. Derek Posse, Keithy Weller, who was phenomenal, went to
Mm.
Leicester,
Great
and
under Keith Weller.
great player, yeah. And then I got, I always remember the boys saying to me, "You'll have to go to the first division if you want to get an international call up. They won't look at second division," which I understood.
Yes.
It's really like a pecking order. Us, you get to the top, we'll think about it. If you don't, you're still getting there. So that really pushed it. I got into it, and then I was told we won't be able to hold you too long. So why's that? They said, "No, there's already people looking." And then next thing I know is that Man United, Tottenham, um, Arsenal were looking, and I thought, and I was a London boy, so I thought, well, I'm staying in London somewhere, and out of the blue it came, and Jimmy Murphy, the great Jimmy Murphy at United, that took the '58 FA Cup, the Munich disaster team, and then he said to the doc at 11 o'clock that night, he phoned him up and said, "Sign him." He says, "Otherwise, he'll be gone tomorrow morning."
What a wonderful recommendation, because Tommy Doherty, fantastic manager he
Yes,
was too, wasn't he, for both Chelsea and Manchester United. But of
yeah,
course, you signed professional terms for Millwall, I think in 1973, if the facts are right this time, Gordon, and becoming a Lion, a true Lion at Millwall, making 91 appearances, let's not forget that, and scoring 22 goals in a great 2 years at Millwall. I mean,
yeah.
it was a great start to your professional career at Millwall, wasn't it? I think, as you already intimated, you couldn't do better than start at Millwall at the time, could you, Gordon, really, as you said?
Well, you have your ups and downs in football,
Yes.
and your downs are when a club's not going to take you or sign you.
Mm.
Your ups are when you score goals and everybody pats you on the back. You're down when you go get picked in a side and you think to yourself, "Oh, something's wrong." So the
Yes.
ups and downs, it's like a graph that you actually monitor, and you
Like
say,
the
"I tell
stock
you what,
market, isn't it, you know?
it is. It's
Yeah.
very much like that. Am I going to get my £40 a point this week, or am I not in the squad?" Because
Yeah.
everything then was like basics. I think, and my first salary was £25 a week, and
Mm.
I thought I'd won the lottery, because first thing I'd do is go home and give me mum a few quid,
Yeah.
say, "Mum." I mean, I had nine brothers and sisters, so you know, go home and contribute a little bit here and a little bit there was great. But I
Good for
think it
you, Gordon.
was self confidence in myself. People say, "Oh,
Mm.
you're cocky." No,
No,
I wasn't cocky.
no,
It
it's
was
confidence.
it's confidence in myself inwardly that I would show it, and people say, "Oh, you can't." "Oh, I'll do this. I'll do this." But then you think to yourself, "Well, I hope I can," and then your
I
confidence questions yourself.
I mean, you put this in perspective, of course, what you're saying about confidence and the greatness of a player you were, and you obviously you were starting off at Millwall and became a fantastic player, of course. You were also known to the Lions fans as Merlin, which is the title of this show, isn't it? I have to say, as a
Yeah,
highly respected player amongst the Millwall faithful due to your magical ball skills and pace and goal scoring prowess. I mean, it's a remarkable nickname such for such a young age, Gordon, isn't it? Really, they
yes,
must have
yeah.
really adored you at Millwall.
I was, taken back when it was given to me. It wasn't given to me
Mm,
at United. It was at Millwall, and
right.
I used to go and watch the reserves play when we had a training session and then go home afterwards. And I used to sit with some of these in the stands that were watching the true faithfuls. And I used to go into the stand and sit there, and I got to know them as much as, you know,
Mm.
they knew me on the field, so to speak. So when they said to us, it was so funny, really, Russell, because I got a fax, or it was on I think it was on one of the media shows here, that I got a message, and it said, "I just seen you and your message about playing a game.
Mm.
You lifting the ball over your head at Millwall, over his head, banged it into the top corner, and everybody had and and I just went, well, thank you very much." He said, "No, it was me you lobbed." So it was another. So it was another
Fantastic.
English. It was another English. It was another English defender that I'd
Yes.
lipped it over with my left, hit it with my right, and it flew into the top of the net. And it was like, and your satisfaction is when it hits the net. But the niceness was that this guy, this defender, had remembered, and then Millwall themselves. Sorry about this. Has got the telephone ringing.
You're
I've got.
okay, Gordon. Don't worry. This is a show, so these things happen.
Yeah,
Carry on.
and that was it really. I started to score goals. I used to love scoring goals. I mean, the best thing I could do was, score goals. And when I think the highlight of everything was when we played United when they were in the second division.
Mm.
Was one of them when we first went to Old Trafford, and everybody knew, everybody knows the history, the legends, the players that come out. And I'm actually going up there with Millwall, with the boys, trying to get a result at Old Trafford, which was, like I'd have been much better if I'd have bought a lottery ticket. But what happened was we went up there, and the funny thing about it is that we are nicknamed the Lions. And we'd fight like lions, we'd play like, we were hard and everything, and the supporters were really behind us. Well, I felt like the Christians inside inside this great theatre, because we
Yeah.
went there, we got mauled 4-0, and it was you what it was like, you wasn't asking for be easy on us. It was, can I have your autograph? And as they're running past you
Yeah.
on the field, it's like, oh, it's Sammy McElroy. Sat, can I have your, you're asking for his autograph very quickly.
Yeah.
But we got mauled there, and the crowd there, it was like, from us having 10, 12,000 to having 50, 60,000 people, it was like, holy moly. We felt more of like being in the Lion's Den
Yes,
at
I was going to say that
Trafford.
the den of the lions of Millwall was suddenly in the lions' den, weren't you? Actually, at Old Trafford.
Yes. And then we
Incredible.
came out, and then we came back to Coldblow Lane, Old
Yep.
Kent Road, and said, right, oh dear, we got a mall in there. Let's, regroup and everything else. When we played them at Old Trafford, when we played them down at Millwall, the old Den, which was
Mm.
glorious,
Coldblow Lane. Yes.
the old Kent Road was closed because they were bringing 4, 5, 6,000 people down. They were going. That It was just a matter of time, Russell, before they picked up the trophy. That's how good they were coming back, and they got some great players: Stewie Pearson, Big Jim Holton. These players have been and seen and done, and like, there we are at Millwall saying, "Well, okay, if we can get something out of them, we're happy." Well, what
Yep.
happened was that we drew with, I think we lost 1-0, but the ball came across the box. I always remember, ball came across the box, and I greeted it with the outside of my left boot, and it went whistling round like a bender into the top right hand and hit the bar and went over, which would have given us a draw, and happened to be Alex Stepney, who was a Millwall boy,
He was. Yes, you're quite right.
sighed some relief. And and I think that really said that, I wanted people to know what we were.
Yeah.
not me, because I knew what I wanted to be, but it was great. People say, "Oh yeah, but you had this and you had that at United." But Millwall, we used to have to go and train on a grit field.
Mm.
We had to go into Deptford to go to the field, which was iron posts. So if you hit one of them, it nearly knocked you out. You had red grass that if you got it into your knees or something when you slid tackled, you got it. You had to run around this. Then all of a sudden, you're going to the big clubs and you think, in yourself, I did. I'd like to play there. I felt that at Old Trafford. This is where I want to play. This is where I feel comfortable. And then, luck have it, I was whipped away up there, but I helped
Yeah,
Mill some money from it.
absolutely. But before you went to Old Trafford, of course, we'll come on to that in a second. Millwall did let you out on loan, Gordon, didn't they, in the summer of 1975 with the North
Gordon
American
Jago.
Soccer League's Chicago Sting, I understand, but you made 21 appearances in that summer of 1975, scored an incredible 16 goals. I mean, that is just unrealistic. I mean, some summer, Gordon, I mean, what do you remember most about playing for Chicago Sting? And of course, your time in the States, because you're in the States now, you must have loved it. Sowed some
Yeah,
seeds.
well, I came out and funny enough, Gordon Jago, who was at QPR when Benny
Yes.
Fenton got it, he Gordon Jago took over, and we knew that Gordon was fancy. And at Millwall, you get a tracksuit, and you're lucky to get a pair of shorts if you get in first. He had this stylo tracksuit on, and he came in, and you got people like Frankie Saul and
Mm.
Kitchener. You couldn't be green. And of course, Frankie Saul knew him and turned and said, he said, "Watch this." He said, "Gordon Jago." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Watch. He'll come in." He said, "He'll have a tracksuit on. It'll be done up to the neck." And he'll have stylo. And we were going, "Sauly, don't be, don't be silly." Oh yeah, came in. Wow, he came in. It was like he's got in the wrong room. He's got in the wrong door. Well, he came in and then he said to me, he said, we had the season, and he said, "Well, we're coming back for pre-season." He said, "But I've had some contacts in the States that are forming a new North American soccer league.
Mm.
Would you like to play there for 3 months instead of doing your pre-season and help with this new franchise, Chicago Sting?"
Oh,
And
what an offer.
I said, "Well, I'd love to, yeah." So I went out there for 3 months, and we're all housed in this beautiful place on the Gold Coast, Gulf
Oh,
of Lake Michigan. And, you're seeing people like the Hogans of this world walking past, and,
mm.
you're just, wow, Hogan's Heroes guy comes past, and it's like who's who of the Chicago, and Hugh Hefner's place was just up the road. And
Brilliant.
you're going, wow. So we had that and that season, and it was great because people didn't realize that we was helping the States get soccer off the ground.
You were.
What's that little period? But I was only on loan. Millwall wouldn't have sold me.
No.
So I went back after having a nice little purple patch, fit to play, ready for the Millwall season and ready to go. And it was so funny because Millwall Millwall said we had a bid from Chicago, but we're not going to accept it because we know something else is down the road. So I said,
Mm.
and you never get told this. It's just hearsay. So you go, okay. So you carry on. You go training. 1 minute I'm lying on the shores of Lake Michigan where Al Capone and his mates were living,
Yes.
and then the next thing I'm now back at Deptford, cold,
Cold
windy.
Blow Lane.
Yeah. And so, but it didn't bother me because all I was interested in, Russell, was playing a
Yeah, of
ball at
course.
my feet, a ball at my feet, being able to do what I love doing. And that was playing, scoring.
And of course, you were still a very young player at the time, Gordon, as well, when all
Yeah.
this was going on. So to go to America then would have been far too early in your career. I mean, everybody who plays football goes to at the end of their career, don't they, as we all know. But you did subsequently, had your big big move, as you just intimated, a dream
Yeah.
move really, signing for Manchester United in November of 1975 for £70,000. I mean, yes, I mean, that's not a lot of money, but going back, of course, 75, it probably was a fair amount. Forming a wing partnership with Steve Coppell.
Yeah, brilliant,
Now that was some partnership going on, wasn't it?
brilliant.
And how did you
Yes.
feel when Manchester United wanted to sign you? Because Steve Coppell on the right, Gordon Hill on the left. What an amazing left and right hand attacking format
Oh my
that was
gosh.
at Manchester
Yes.
United.
Yeah,
Incredible.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, I don't think you can actually feel it until you're actually there. You
Yeah.
know, I and it's a completely different world. The training facilities is completely different from Millwall to Man United. You're going to the famous cliff,
Mm.
which every legend, and it always will be, no matter what new stadiums they build, that cliff was one field, a little field for the reserves and the youth team,
Mm.
and we had the main field. Not too much grass on it. We had a warehouse next door to it where we used to train in the winter. It's like being in a fridge.
Yes,
But
I can imagine.
but it was Millwall. We didn't. We had to have a swimming pool that was wooded over to train on in the winter. So
Yeah.
it was, you done everything with the ball. The ball was like you turned up, you played, you made good of it, you sweated, say thanks very much, and out you go. Day's over. I went to United, and Gordon Jago said to me, "We've accepted a bid from Manchester United." Um, the night before I got on the train, he said, "You can go up tomorrow, get on the train." And we were playing on one of the London fields that was at a slant because we
Yes.
were ready for the FA Cup. I think Exeter or someone like that who had a field like that. So we were, practicing. And he said after the game, he said, "Here's your boots. I've got your X-rays. Take them up to United tomorrow." He said, you have your test and your medical." So, okay, fine. I get on the train. So I'm now, you know, sitting on the train, and and they said, "Don't worry, there'll be somebody there to pick you up." So I get off at Piccadilly, and I
Mm.
look out, and Gordon Clayton, who was a lovely fella, bless his heart, he turns around and he says, "Gordon," he said, "I've come to pick you up." He said, "I borrowed TD's car," because that was called TD, Tommy Dot. He said, I borrowed
Lovely dog.
the boss's car, TD. He said, "I'm going to take you back to Old Trafford." So I went, "Okay, fine, thank you." So you get in and you're very polite, and all of a sudden you go round, and I'd only seen it when I played. Got out of a
Yes.
coach, changing room. Now I've gone round the corner. I went, "Holy moly!" And then it still was like, "Wow!" So this is Old Trafford outside and everything. And then I go in, and up the marble stairs on the outside, up the marble stairs. These big oak doors. At Millwall, it was a shed door, open. You're in. At United, it was a massive, great oak doors with the marble and everything, and it was like,
Wonderful. Solid English oak, I'm sure.
it was
Yes.
it was beautiful. You go up the stairs and everything else, and then all of a sudden, there was manager's office, which still had the sign out from when Sir Matt was there. So I go in, knock on the door. I go in, and oh my gosh, Jimmy Murphy, Frank Blunstone, Tommy Doherty, Sir Matt, Louis Edwards, the chairman, five of them
Oh,
sitting. I went, and you can't get much higher than that. And I
no.
went, and they sat down. They said, and the doc says, "Right, son," he says, "we've been following you for a few weeks," he says, "and we decided that we need you. We're looking for a final piece of the jigsaw." And he said, and then Frank Blunstone, who was a great winger for England, he turned
He
around and
was.
"We've been watching you." And Jimmy Murphy said, "Yes." And of course, Jimmy was, and he said, "You'll do well here, son." "Oh, thanks,
Brilliant.
Murphy. Thanks, Mr. Murphy." And,
Yes.
yeah, so they said, "Here's no agent. You don't need a Little Woods agent signing a contract or anything." It was like, "We're going to give you this." this is a 2-year deal. So I went, oh yeah, and then we'd like you to sign it. And he said, we're playing Man City tomorrow, he said, and we'd tonight, and we'd like you to come with us to see. Well, what I planned when the great Colin Bell,
Oh, what a player.
what a player, with
Yeah.
Najitsky was a word for him, and that was absolutely spot on. So then we turned around, I turned around and said, okay, it said, you'll be staying at the Piccadilly Hotel tonight. Oh, holy moly, you know. And I went, well, okay, fine. So they went, here we go. And I went, and I said, thank you. And he said, Norman, he said, I'll take you to the hotel and he'll pick you up for the game tonight. So, okay, fine. Just relax now, son. You're here till Saturday. So I went, oh, okay. So I got him, got up, walked out, and I walked down the stairs and Norman says, well done, welcome, welcome. He says, to the greatest club in the world. So I said, I have no doubt about that. I said, my brother supported you guys, even from where I lived in Sunbury. I went, hold on a minute. So I said, can I go? So I went back upstairs and on the door and they went, come in. So I went, excuse me. And I sitting there and the doc and the chairman and that have got a cigar. And I said, excuse me. I said, but I've just signed the contract, haven't I? Oh, yes, yeah. I said, can you tell me how much am I going to get?
Oh, that's hysterical, Gordon. You hadn't even talked about the money. This
Because
euphoria of signing for Manchester United.
I
How
know.
good.
I literally, and the doc turned around and he went, oh, worry, son, we'll look after you. And that's it. And
That's
then
it.
I went, and I trusted him. And I was 19.
Mm,
So I knew, so I went, okay, fine. And then he said, the first year I got a raise and the second year I got a raise, but it was, like, wow. And I had to pinch myself when I went back to the hotel,
mm.
but it was just incredible. And I
So
went,
you still didn't know what you were on a year or a month or a week?
I didn't, I got 125 pound a week.
Mm.
And then it went to 175. And I think the total was 225. That was it. But Millwall got 70,000 and all I wanted to do was play for my country at under 23s, which would have
Mm.
given Millwall another 25 grand. And then the full international, which would have been another 40 grand. So it would have been about 125, 130 grand that Millwall got out of it, which in them days was good
A lot of
money,
money.
a
Exactly.
lot of money for a club. Well, the reason that Millwall sold me was the bank told Gordon Jago on that night when I was playing, you've got to sell him because we need the money. The club said we need the money. So he made that
It's the
deal.
way back in the day. Always the way back in the day, wasn't it?
He said they need the money. So I went and you go along because you don't know. You don't look at the back of it. You don't, you don't see the directors and bits and pieces, only if they come in and say hello, and they were lovely people. And the stories and the experience you get, Russell,
Yes.
you couldn't put in a can.
No, I quite agree with you, Gordon.
You couldn't sell them in cans because the directors were hard-working London people that had one of them had a haulage business on the river, used to
Mm.
haul stuff coal up and down the river, and I always remember he come in every day. We had Mickey Purser, who owned the Volkswagen garage down the Old Kent Road,
Mm.
and he'd always come in after a game, which he'd always come in after if we lost, and he very very gruff, and he would turn around and he'd say, "Hey," and he'd excuse my language, but he'd use it. He'd go, "Hey, boys," he said, "stop fucking losing, will you?" He said, "Why is that? Why is that, Mister Purser?" He says, "Our supporters come down and break my fucking windows."
And they probably did too. That's
They
what it was
did.
like then, wasn't it? You know, it
He
really
had that.
was.
Well, he had the big plate windows, the show car, the showroom.
Yeah.
And then
They all got caved in,
and
most
you get
wings,
to
if you
know these
lost.
people, and a guy called Bill Nayland used to come in God knows what. Oh, he had the up and down boats, and he'd come in and he'd always have a sandy coloured suit on. Well, they'd always come in and say, "Good luck." The directors, "Good luck, all the best, boys," and all that, right? Well, he came in, and if you mess up one bit with the group I played with, the great lads, they would rip you to pieces. They could suss out a laughing moment in a second. It was like, you ain't going to be green for long. Well, guess what happened? Bill come up, he goes around, good luck, good luck, good luck. Well, he got his false teeth stuck and he was going cluck, 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 cluck. Well, out of the blue, all the boys went round and said, cluck, 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 Bill. He got his false teeth stuck. And
Oh,
you remember these stories. And
you do.
that makes a club. That's what makes, the traditions and legends. And Millwall's had a lot of lovely legends, but I
Certainly
moved on
have.
to another team that had even bigger legends.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. And in the space of 4 years, Gordon, I must be honest, you played for Southall, of course, non-league
yeah,
Southall, and now at the Theatre of Dreams. So from a 15-year-old to a 19-year-old, you're at the Theatre of Dreams, playing at one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest club in the world, Manchester United. I mean, this is some football journey, isn't it, Gordon? Put it in perspective. From 15 to 19, you're still a young lad at 19, and all of a sudden now you're at Manchester United becoming, in the end, a superstar. I mean, it's an incredible story.
it's football's got a funny way of having a go at you in its
It
own way.
has, yes.
And people say to me, "Oh, yeah, you're just lucky." Said, "No, football can take it away as
It can.
quickly as it did it to you." And I
Yeah.
think I learned that afterwards because at that young age, that tender age, you always feel infallible.
Mm,
Oh, this
I
is not
agree.
bad. I'm okay. I can bounce off a wall and all that. And as we go on, we'll talk about the injury, but it was an opener for me. And you're looking at it, you're playing, you're out there, you're idolized by people. You
Mhm.
got a nickname that was given to you from the first club to Millwall,
Exactly.
Manchester
Merlin, of
United,
course.
and Man United supporters, king of all Cockneys. I wasn't a Cockney. I didn't come on the sound of Bow Bells, but
No.
was something that was treasured because, from to this very day, I still think back and
Of you do.
memories. And then basically when I went to United, they created their own. I
Mm.
created my own. And I was one of fabulous players, not only at Millwall, but fabulous players at Man United. Not only were they internationals,
Mm.
it was a passion that the team was being built again. The doc was rebuilding a team at United to
Mm.
challenge, and circumstances beyond our control didn't let it happen, but it didn't let it happen in the way it should have.
Yeah, and of course, let's just step back a second as well. I mean, so where was your brother now playing, Gordon? And, he must have been a little overawed, really, seeing his brother, his little brother, you, Gordon, now playing for Manchester United, a team he supported. I mean,
It's
what did he do? Where was he at
well,
this time?
they kept playing, and
Yes.
they did what they did. To me, I
Mm.
was still, young brother Gordy. I was better than him always. And I'm always going to, and that was great. I should have, I should have done it. I could have done it. I played. Yeah, I have no problem with that. None at
Mm.
all. I was fortunate enough that I did get there, but it didn't, they didn't wish anything bad from it. They just said, wow, well done. I
Well
mean,
done. Exactly. Yes.
my brothers used to protect me when I was playing on a Sunday team. They asked me a couple of times to play for,
Mm.
I was only 13 at the time. I was playing on a vicious Sunday side at the local park. My brothers and my older friends used to protect me. I'd scored 3 or 4 goals and everybody wanted to whack the crap out of me. But
They were the days back
oh,
then, weren't they?
but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was they had a license to have a crack at you, and so you grew up with that, and
We
then
did.
when you went to the, as I said, when you go to the top, you know that it's going to be very calculated as well. You know that they're doing it for a reason. It's tactical, and I think learning all that took me in good stead because I knew who was coming at me. When you got people like Gentili trying to
Mm.
kick the crap out of you, and Cucurudu trying to these international players, they never got booked.
No.
They listen. If you do that again, I'm going to book you. So they'd run away, send somebody else around, and they'd kick you.
Yeah.
And in them days, if they turned around and said to you, "Get him in the first minute because he won't want to play for the rest,"
Oh, that was
and
the old
that's what they
tactics,
used to
wasn't it?
say. That's
It
what
was,
happened.
yeah.
So you had to be strong enough to play and strong enough to just turn around and go, "You have
Yeah.
a crack at me, I'm coming back at you." I think that's the confidence in you saying, "You can whack me as much as you like."
But I'm
And
still going to come back at you.
I'm still going to go past you. And I
Yeah.
think that's the attitude that I had at that time.
Great attitude.
I carried it through confidence wise. I had to be confident in myself.
Yeah.
And
And confident you were.
yeah. Oh, he's cocky. No, I wasn't cocky. I had to breed.
Confidence.
Yeah, I had to breed my own confidence because if I didn't do something, it wasn't the goals I scored. It was
Mm.
the goals I missed that haunted me.
Mm.
Man, I should have hit that one. Why didn't I hit that one? Yeah, but you scored one. Yeah, but I missed that one. And I
Yeah. You can be
uh,
overcritical to yourself sometimes, can't you? Because
very self.
you're not gonna score every shot you attempt, are you? So it's just
Uh,
you have to just recognise and understand the averages. If
yes,
you're getting the goals every game, you're getting 1 or
yes.
2 a game, then you're doing well, aren't you, really, let's be honest. So
Tommy Cabana, who was great.
yeah.
I had I went on trial to Forest at 15 for a
Mm.
week, and Matt Gillies had a chance of either signing me or John Robinson, Scottish international winger.
Oh, John
Signed John
Robertson, Brian
Robinson, and
Clough's
I came
favourite fat player.
yeah, and I came back to London. So you meet people like that all the way through,
You do,
and
yes.
you can't buy that. You can't put a price on. Hey, Robbo, how you doing? Hey, Illy, how you doing? Yeah, great, nice
Yeah.
to see. You got a blue shirt, I got a red shirt, and you get that, and it was just the camaraderie was there, but once you stepped on the field, that was it. There's no
That's it,
prison.
90 minutes plus. No prisoners for 90 minutes plus.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
afterwards, you're having a drink with each other in the bar afterwards as well. That's the way it went, wasn't it,
absolutely.
back in the day?
Yeah,
Quite
absolutely.
rightly so too. I mean, what was it like, playing under both Tommy McDoherty, of course, and Dave Sexton as managers in your time at Manchester United? Both different styles of management, Gordon, and coaching in many ways. And of course, two ex-Chelsea managers that had success at Chelsea in the 1960s and 1970s. And what's the difference between Tommy Dock and Dave Sexton?
Very theory orientated was Dave Sexton, and Tommy Dock was cavalier. Would
Yes.
would want you to play to your strengths,
Mm.
not forget what you had to do, but had players around that could do the same and could turn it and could support you. Uh, Dave Sexton was, A to B, B to C, C to D. Tommy Dock was A to B, B to C, C to D.
Different styles, yeah,
But but
absolutely.
if but if B didn't run, somebody else would do it.
Yep.
So the doc used to say to us before we went out, we don't, oh, Cav as well, we don't mind
Mm.
them scoring two if, as long as we score three,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, and that, and,
Skipping a few
we don't
managers
mind
like
scoring.
that.
And the Cav used to always say to me, he said, hey, and he called Stevie and myself two Chukies, left and
Go
right,
on.
the two Chukies. And
Yeah.
he'd come up and he'd say, Stevie will stop you 20 and Gordon will score you 20. And they work well together. And then it happens that the doc used to say, when you see some weakness in the defenders, just change positions go left. Gordy, you go right,
Yep.
and see if you can cut in. See if you can cut inside and do it. And it's funny that today's game is built about this inverted players when we've
Yes.
been playing it for
For
donkey's years
years.
and
Donkey's years
doing it.
beforehand. Yeah.
And if it didn't work, you'd just revert back.
Switch back. Yeah, exactly.
But the main aim was to get to the byline, clip it in for the likes of like Alf Wood at Millwall, Stewie Pearce, Greenoff at Man United. It's the
Yes.
same. And that's exactly how he was. But the doc was like a hard as a player as well. When he was a player, I mean, he had Aston Villa, he had Scotland, he had Chelsea, he came to Man United. The problem with the boss was that he had a self-destruct button every 2 or 3 years, and
Yes.
he had a great team in Scotland. He had Chelsea, which is a good side. I used to watch, and then went to Man United, and he was there, but I think his personal life got into it, which shouldn't have. But it did because it involved another personnel from the club, another staff.
Yes.
And that was it, and Sammy Mack, who was a Busby babe, turned and we were talking with each other on Ibiza Beach, getting a quick holiday after an England tour. And Sam said, Illy, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting 3 days holiday, Mac. He says, yeah, so am I. So he said, you've read the paper? I went, no. Doc's got the sack. What? You're kidding me. Why? We've just won the freaking FA Cup. He's been having an affair with Mary Brown. Oh, my God. And he's been having it for the last 2 years.
That followed Tommy Doherty around, didn't it? I remember Stevie Wicks told me this when Tommy Dock was at Derby County. Similar
Yeah.
stories. He
Yes.
loved his champagne, didn't he, Tommy Doherty? And there's
Oh,
always
my
a
God.
woman somewhere along the line at the club he was at. It seemed to
Yeah.
follow him everywhere he went. But
Yeah.
that's just the
A
character.
bit like Sven Eriksson, wasn't it? He used to
Yes,
love the women's, but hey,
similar.
that's what makes a person. So if that does, so be it. If it doesn't affect his work,
Exactly.
then basically, that I think it's because United being a very religious club at the time,
Mm,
I think the case in point was you had Samat that was a frowned upon. And I sat with Samat at a young age and listened and talked to him quite a lot. But then the board got it. And then Les Olive being a very much a church person, it was, you crossed the line, so to speak. And then Sammy just said, he won't survive because he says, I know that. And then, as I said, the next person came in was Dave Sexton, and he came up with all this, this stuff. And I mean, it was like studying for a freaking degree, you know. And then he'd sit you down, and then he'll say, I want you to do this, 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 and this. And then I want you to score me 20 goals, but I also want you to stop me 20 goals. And I said, Dave, there's no way in a million years I can do that. I said, it's like you asking Stevie to go and score you 20 goals. He stops 20 goals because that's what he does. Me, I attack from the halfway line up, and my job is to put the ball in to service or to score.
yeah.
And I think, but then he showed me a video where he said, I want you to watch this winger. And that was when Hungary beat us 9-2. And he showed this guy going up and down, up and down. And I said, and I was, after training, I was freezing, sitting in his office. And he went, just watch. And he
Wasn't
was,
Puskas, was it?
no, I don't know who it, no, it was a winger.
Ah,
I don't
okay.
know who it was, but anyway, to me, it was, well, I'm a different player.
Yes.
I'm sorry, it's different. And so I think what I didn't like most for was his secrecy about the whole thing.
Mm,
The whole deal was secret. And that he'd been ploying for some time. So now, even in today's game, I wonder what Amarin is thinking after being a player in the same system, being a player in a very similar system back then. you're getting rid of your top scorer,
Mm,
but you've got but you want to work, you want a worker in between. I'd rather have someone that's going to score me 20, 23 goals a season as opposed to a worker that might not and won't, definitely not. But that was his theory. The Docs was completely different. They both
different.
had a bit of success in what they did. I wasn't going to argue, but being told that the deal was virtually done before I'd even gone to Preston in the last reserve game,
Mm.
that was wow. I don't know this guy.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, isn't it? But that's it. You can be a good player with one coach, one manager, and not so good with another because you don't fit into their system of play, do you? It's kind of what
Absolutely.
happens sometimes. But you
Yeah.
did help Manchester United reach the 1976 FA Cup final, scoring both goals with long-range efforts, I hasten to add, in the semi-final at Hillsborough Stadium against Derby County. So tell us about this match, and of course your two sensational long-range efforts. Massive memories here to reach your first FA Cup final at Wembley, Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, we went to a Derby at that time. We're going for 4 trophies, exactly
They
what
were.
Liverpool were doing this year, and that they were going for 4, and we knew that they were a 4. I mean, the players to me then were different players to what they are today, and what they represented, you know. And then we went to Derby, who were going for 4 trophies. You had players like Roy McFarlane, Colin Todd. Colin Todd it's been the best right back defender in the world all time for me. Knew
Great
when
player.
to. It was very similar to Bobby Moore. Knew when to tackle, when to drop. I mean, he was a pro. Roy McFarlane was the best centre half until he done his Achilles
Mm.
in the England game. Would get up, could play a ball as well. Wasn't a clumsy centre half, and so we went out there. And I always remember Leighton James was the Welsh winger that was supposed to be, like set things alight, and he did. He'd go past. So you had to have Jimmy Nicol, on his toes, or you had
Yes.
to at that time on the left, you had to have Arthur Orbiston. So who got it was very young. So basically what it was a case of is we go out there and coming in off the bus. I always remember going to the tunnel, which was very small at Sheffield. When you go to the changing rooms, Leighton James, obviously took it and turned around and they said, "It's not worth you boys turning up to us United players going in." And Charlie George, bless his heart, who's a lovely fella, lovely Charlie, turned around and said, "You fucking idiot. You've just wound them up." And
Yeah.
I know for a fact that after the game, Charlie did not say a word to Leighton James in the bar. Not a word. He just absolutely threw him because Dave Mackay had a great team.
Yes, they did. They were a great side, Derby, that year.
Yes. And then we went out there and the ball came and it was like, wow, you had David Nish, Roy McFarlane, Bruce Rioch. You had Davis up front. It was like, Roger, are you going, holy moly, if they put well, we were a young squad coming in. We weren't scared of anybody. So we were playing our game. And then all of a sudden, like ball come in, and then Middleton, the goalkeeper, um, I knew he was out. I just touched it to the side and bent it into the top corner, and I went, "That's it. We're off. We've got one." Now, the biggest thing is we might have got one. We have now got to hold them. And then we were backpedaling and they were getting attacks and we were getting attacks. Second half come, Bruce Rioch absolutely slaughtered Stewie Pearson and should have, in today's game, would have been given 2 red cards.
Yeah.
But, but
Yes.
he got away with it, got a free kick about 25, 30 yards outside the box, saw a gap, and they said to me, and I went, I've got a gap, and I hit that gap, and it took a little deflection and it went in, and it was like everybody went yes, because if you remember, 2 or 3 years earlier, they were in the second division.
That's
They
right.
only got promotion back up, So the club that went down and lost your Bobby Charltons, your Besties, and all these players, and the Willie Morgans,
Mm.
the club had rebuilt it, so to speak, and there were the younger players, Koppel, Greenoff, that were coming
Looking
through.
south.
Stevie, Lou Macari, who was phenomenal, Sammy McElroy, Jerry Daly. We knew that we were young enough to start to push ourselves and be at the top. The doc knew it. The doc knew the squad. He said, I can let them go out. He said, they know what we need to do. And then we went out and we played very good togetherness, but we knew that if we gave Derby a half a chance, they'd come back into the game. And when we scored the second goal, it was like, oh man, at the end of it, I couldn't get off the field. No one would let me. I forgot. I lost my way to the changing rooms because I couldn't see him, and then I
What a
finally
wild
got it.
story.
The policeman came, and I always remember that day because the fans were just phenomenal. We'd gone back to Mottram, and where we stayed at Mottram and had a party just to get through, just to get through to the final. But then you put everything aside because you now know you've got another job to do. You've got a game on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And then in them days, you play the games on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, regardless whether it's an international. You never played on a Thursday and Friday. That was your rest days. So then you played on a Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, or a Wednesday, and then you'd Thursday, Friday, and get ready for the game again on a Saturday. And even playing international football was the same. You wouldn't be asked a Thursday or Friday game, not like now where there's a game every minute.
There is, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But of course,
Yes.
you beat Derby County in that momentous semi-final going back in '76, but lost in the FA Cup final itself to Southampton, who, I mean, let's be honest, were a second division side at the time, Gordon, weren't they? In what was
Yes.
one of the biggest shocks in the history of the FA Cup final. Southampton won 1-0 for a 83rd minute goal from Bobby Stokes. I can still see it now, actually. I remember watching it. Incredibly well structured,
Yes.
but it was the first time Southampton won a major trophy, and believe it or not, the last time that Queen Elizabeth II attended a final and presented the
That's right.
trophy to the winners. That's
That's
incredible, isn't
right.
it? I mean,
Yeah.
that must have been very disappointing for you, Gordon. What memories do you have of that 1976 FA Cup final and not really getting to receive the trophy, the FA Cup trophy from the Queen?
I mean, the FA Cup is a pinnacle of competitive domestic
Oh,
tournaments. Best
without
in.
doubt.
I don't care what anybody says about that. But we were absolutely demoralised because everybody. And the funny thing is that you have that inclination that if you are too confident, something's going to slip up. And
Mm,
when that went in, I remember I hit the bar.
yeah,
Sammy McElroy hit the bar. It was like, okay, fine. I think uh, you reserved that. You got it in the back of your mind. It's not going to happen.
mm.
You've gone far enough, far enough, far enough. And I think it's time that, and Southampton not having anything, they gave everything. Laurie McNemery had a lovely team out there, Mickey Shannon and people
Oh,
like that. So you had these type of players out there and you had obviously Bob. And then what happens is we still look and say it was offside. And to this very day, we'd still say it was offside, but referee didn't give it. We played on and it was 1-0. And at the end of it, we were gutted, absolutely gutted.
oh, without
I mean,
doubt, yes.
I got substituted. It was maybe it was the hottest day. It was
Yes.
so hot that it just drained everything out of me. I know myself. I just couldn't do things. I don't know what it was. It might have been the occasion, might have been the
Mixture of
heat,
both, possibly.
could have been both. It most probably was both. It was, and in them days you got subbed and you was, well, I'm not playing well or I'm injured.
Mm.
Nowadays they sub for the sake of subbing it. Then, was the first time I think there that they brought out the numbers, if you remember, where they brought out the number of the player and the player came off number 9, number 10, number 11. So they hold the card up.
Yes.
first time at Wembley, I think they'd used this card system instead of just a subbing and running off. Well, a run off and the number 11's up, and I'm upset. I've gone from the other side of the field. I've got 100,000 people watching. I just went, and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And I ran off and I saw the card, and the card's up there. And I went, and I turned to the boss and I said, "What, fucking me?" And he turned around and he said, "No, the whole fucking team." 11 of us.
Oh,
So it was a number game. It was the first number that we'd
yes,
seen. He said,
yes.
"No, the whole fucking team," because we'd got there and we didn't do it. But we thanked and wished Southampton all the very best, and
Good.
everything. Rosgood was playing for him as
He
well.
was.
So
Peter Roscoe was there as well. A good side, didn't they,
Rodriguez
Southampton?
was playing for him. And
Yeah.
so it wasn't a Mickey Mouse team, but I tell
No.
you what, they got it, they took it, they had it. It was great in their history. But the funny thing about it is that when we were in the change rooms afterwards, and this is so, and Alex Stepney, we said there that we would come back next year and win it.
Ah, absolutely right. And however, what a difference a year makes, Gordon, as the following season, you once again appeared for Manchester United in the 1977 FA Cup final, this time coming out victorious in a 2-1 win against your arch rivals, Liverpool, to lift the famous old trophy for the Red Devils. So please tell us more about this experience and memories of
Oh my
this
God.
moment in your illustrious footballing career, Gordon. I mean, that's one hell of a turnaround and 12 months later, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It's
It's incredible.
it was great. We'd come through it again. We were playing Leeds in the semi-final. We
Mm,
played along the way. I was back in scoring again, and I was, and we were all doing very well. We were near the top, you
yes.
know. So we knew we were doing well in UEFA, in the Champions League, so to speak. The champions, I forget what it called it then, the European Cup. So
Yep.
we'd done well in that. We'd beaten Ajax, we'd beaten Saint Etienne, we'd beaten Porto. So, but then we knew that we weren't. We. It's funny, but as a team, we knew we would play against anybody, but we weren't ready.
Mm,
It was that something was missing, and it was just the experience of playing.
mm.
And we knew that the longer we played together, we knew the better it was going to be. And then what happened was we played in the European Cup against Juventus, who at that time had 9 internationals playing for Juventus, all international Italian internationals, all in the World Cup squad that won I think it was was it 82
82 World Cup, yes, it
World Cup.
was.
And they had the Calzios, the Beticas, and all this. Dino Zoff, and
Dino Zoff, yeah.
I'd beaten Dino Zoff at Old Trafford with a volley that was superb for me. I hit it so well. We won that 1-0, but we lost 3 over in Turin. I mean, but what we did is we let Europe know that Man United were back, not in the second division. I think that was a stain on it. Second division. Let's get that out of our system. Let's
Yes, I
get it
agree.
out and let's come back to the top again. And I think that's something that people have got to give to the Doc. He brought the team out of that back in, even though he didn't stay longer after that, he brought it there. And, at the end of the day, what we did is we knew we had a team, but it was circumstances, like I said earlier, beyond our control
Yes,
that created it. And we played hard against Liverpool. They were certainly a force, and they were going for 3 trophies.
they were.
And we put paid to Derby, and we paid to Liverpool. But I can tell you now, at the end of that game, and I was friends with Ray Kennedy,
Yeah.
Alan Kennedy, Phil Thompson, Emlyn Hughes, Clements, all them, because of being an international. After that game, we went up and said, listen, it was a great game. They're disappointed. We're, like joyous and everything else. Turn around and said to them, guys, go to Germany, go wherever it was, and win the European Cup.
And they duly did, didn't they? It was 2 or 3
And
days
they
after the
duly
FA
did.
Cup final.
And it was brilliant. Okay, we
Was it
stopped them.
Mönchengladbach they played? Was it
Yes,
Borussia
it did.
Mönchengladbach? Yes,
Mönchengladbach, yeah.
that's it.
And it was just, and I tell you what, we knew that United were back,
Yes,
and the team was giving it, and people, I mean, the type of football that I can only explain was just exhilarating, 100 mile an hour, but controlled,
absolutely. It's a good game.
controlled.
So Liverpool back then, of course, won the Football League. They won the League Championship. They won the European Championship, the European Cup, known as obviously it was just a European Cup back in the day, wasn't it?
Yes,
And of course, you beat them in the FA Cup final, so you took the treble away from them that year as well. So
yes,
it's a fantastic victory for Manchester United against Liverpool, your old arch rivals, of course. So that's an incredible performance. And a
yeah.
wonderful FA Cup final it was too.
Yes, it
Superb.
was great. Kevin Keegan, you know,
Yeah.
um, phew,
So let's talk about your international career. We just sort of briefly mention the word international then as well, Gordon.
mhm.
Before returning to the domestic games scene again, you played at every level for England as an amateur, youth, under 23, England B, and full international. At which level you won 6 full caps for between 1976 and 1977. And let's talk about your full senior England appearances. What was your debut match, and which match did you really enjoy playing in the most? And of course, also the money that goes to Millwall here as well, remember?
Well, I think the under 23 was the first time, and I think it was Don
Mm,
Revie that wasn't Don Revie that was a manager. I
mm.
forget who was in charge at that time on the under 23s, but Don had come along with um, his number two to watch us, the little fella that always smoked a pipe, um, Les.
Oh, I can't figure his name now.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
see
But
him.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
can't figure his name.
yeah. But anyway, what it did is under 20 was against Hungary at Old Trafford, and
Mm.
I scored and we beat them. And and Jimmy Case was playing, and so the under 20 23s at the time was really was good. And then I didn't expect anything, so I got that. So I only played one game before being promoted to the first for the full squad. So
Yeah.
I was highly delighted with that. I got and I knew that Millwall got more money for it, which was great. But then after the game, Don Revie come up to me and he said, "You're coming in the full squad now," and that was it. So I played one game and I was into the full squad straight away. So I went into the full squad, and they had players like Dennis Stewart. Barnsley wasn't in there because he was still at City, younger, a bit younger.
Mm.
So I went into the England team, and I think the first game was against Luxembourg.
Oh, okay.
It might have been. I mean, I'd have to check, but um, yeah, it was. It was. I was playing with players like phew, Paul Mariner, Kevin Beattie,
Mm.
Colin Todd, Roy McFarland.
Some big
Uh,
names there.
my God, Jerry Francis, Kevin Keegan, Ray Clements, Joe Corrigan. Um, oh my gosh, Joe Royal. I mean, we're talking about players that were established, and I was very gracious in being able to play with these players and supplying them. But
Mm.
getting picked to play, I think I made my debut with Ray Wilkins against Italy in New York. I think that was what my debut game, and we beat them 3-2. And first time I played a game of football over a pitcher's mound.
Wow.
Where they didn't level it all out, and you're
Yeah.
running down, and all of a sudden, like you go up, you go, where have I gone? And the ball's at the feet, and you're going down the sidelines where a baseball stadium, the Yankee Stadium was full up with Italians, the New York Italians.
Oh, it would be.
We were playing, and then all of a sudden, like you've got this, like a diamond. Sorry, how would you say? Uh, Not a complete square field. It was a
Yes.
baseball field. And now you were trying to like adjust yourself to the walls, to the to the field, the grass.
Unusual.
very unusual, but they got 40,000 and we beat them 3-2, which was a fabulous game. And
Yes, that sounds it.
me and Ray made our debut, God rest his soul. We just basically just sat there at the end of it, absolutely shattered because we knew we'd given everything. And I was happy because I knew when you have people like Kevin Beattie, another one we passed away, who was phenomenal. It could head a ball as far as I could kick it.
Mm.
And you had other players with him, Russell, that could grace it. Jerry Francis at
Oh,
QPR,
exactly. Great
you
player.
know, and so you had these greats that you may not have played a lot with the England team, but you was part of them, you know, and that was always something special. Because you had a club mentality when you was with your club, Man United and Millwall.
Yes.
But you had a bigger World Union club when you was with the Ray Clemences, Joe Corrigan, and these players. And when you're with them, you're sitting there and you're talking to a Liverpool player that you may have to play the following Saturday,
Mm.
because in the England games you got called up on a week before, you got your papers, you turned up after the game at West Lodge Park. And West Lodge Park was where the England team was housed.
Mm.
And then you'd play on a maybe Monday, Tuesday, or a Wednesday, and then you'd be straight away back to your club for a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday game.
Yeah.
There was
So it
no
was in the day.
there was no 2-week graces and all this complaining about 60 games a season. We played that. I mean,
You
we
did.
played,
You
and we
did play
never,
that.
we didn't
No
argue.
international breaks back in the day, was it? And
No.
you would play 60 matches because there's a lot more league matches, and of course
Yes,
in the cup matches, you had the replays, another
yes,
replay, second replay,
yes.
third replay, fourth replay,
I
no
know.
penalty, and it just
No,
went on.
yes.
Incredible.
First one that scored, and okay, that's it. Hold him out for another 5. We've only been playing 2 hours, but we'll be all right tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll get 24-hour rest, and we'll be back on the field again. So that was
Absolutely.
really part and parcel of what we were all about, and that was footballers. That was it,
It's
But the
exactly.
biggest thing you kept away from is injuries,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
which
Absolutely.
damaged me, which saddened me. But
Yeah.
I knew that
And
I wasn't invincible.
no, and a lot of players, it happened to a lot of players, because injuries in those days were really bad injuries. If you tore a cruciate, that was your game finished, wasn't it? But these days, you can repair them, be back within 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Well,
So how
it's
things have
funny,
moved
but
on.
I had a new knee about 5 years ago, a
Mm,
titanium knee put in on my left.
right.
And I asked the surgeon, I said to him, why? I said, I would have had it done earlier, but why? Why didn't I not? He said, well, the technology, Gordon, is only a 10-year knee. Now what you've got is a 25-year knee.
Yeah.
And
They last you through.
he said, and he was the Green Bay Packer surgeon.
Wow.
And, and he turned around and said to me, he said, Gordon, he said, don't plan on doing any marathons. And I turned around his name was Dave. I said, David, I've never done a marathon in my life. I
Well, to
don't
tell you what, the
intend
amount
to
of
start.
miles you would have run on a pitch, though, if you add it all up over 90 plus minutes,
Yes.
done a
Isn't it
fair old
funny?
distance.
Isn't it funny when you look at grounds,
Mm,
you look at where you was.
yes.
I look at QPR from 12 years of age till I was 14,
Yeah.
around the outside of Loftus Road.
Yeah.
I look on the outside of Loftus Road. That's where I used to run around at 12 to finish training off. And I remember that, and they still got it there to this very day. And I look at it, I say, I can't believe I used to run around that. 1
Yes.
lap rest, 2 laps rest, 3 laps rest, increase, decrease. I never forget it.
Yeah.
But it makes you strong. It makes you
It
want to,
does.
yeah. And so that was it. But then the biggest downfall was was not bargaining for an injury.
No. And
That
no
that
player does, do they? I mean, everybody who plays, no one's looking to get injured, are they? You don't actually think, well, what do I do if I get injured?
that's why.
No, do you?
No, you don't. You don't. You're infallible. That's what I said. I
Yes,
mean,
exactly.
I, I can tackle and fall over and get up. I can tackle. I can tackle. I could break my leg. but I know the break's coming. When you do something like a ligament or you do something like a cruciate, you don't know when that's coming back. It's like an elastic band that's lost its elasticity, and you just
Exactly.
go. And I suffered that at 24. That's
Yeah,
why I
young
lost.
age.
That's my young age. God knows what I could have done if I hadn't have done that, Russell.
Well, it
Got
would
an
have been
injury at
incredible, wouldn't it?
24 against Leicester.
Yeah.
Very harmless tackle. Last 30 seconds of a game. Didn't have to make the tackle. I did, and my knee whipped both ways sideways.
Oof.
I knew it was damning. And I would just come off of doing the superstars.
Oh dear.
So I knew, and I worked. I knew the reason I look at it now is to say, well, I had my great times. I had fantastic times. I just sometimes sit there and wonder what would have happened if I hadn't have injured myself. I'd have gone on for more caps. I'd have gone on for more goals. I'd have played, even and I look at it and just go. I look at my knee, and that's the only injury I've had.
Yeah, but it's a bad one. Two
It was
cruciates, really
it was a
bad.
bad one because I relied upon it as a winger
Exactly, you would do.
and striking, and you really don't understand it until the worst thing I had really when I was at Derby when I did it, I'd got bought for 275,000, replace it coming in, and I thought, right, I'll go to Derby. Great team, great club, smaller club, but want to win. Great. Doc was there, said, go out and just score goals. About the third game into the season, I tackled Georgie Armstrong, didn't need to do it, and my leg whipped. And I thought, okay, or just maybe a bruising or something like that. No. And it stayed there and the doctor said to me, Gordon, he said, we're going to put you in a plaster cast from just
Yeah.
below you, up your thigh to just below the knee, a full cast. Well, I was in there for 3 or 4 weeks and it came out and I had a chicken leg. It was that it lost everything. And it took me 11 months to get back from that and 12 months before I even got confidence back into me to play because it killed me so much. And I tell you what, I feel sorry for any player today that has, but the technology and the doctors and specialists have come so far now.
Oh, they have now, yes. Those
Yeah,
career-ending injuries aren't
it was.
career-ending anymore, are they?
They're not.
So,
And I did that. And all I wanted to do when I done it was I wanted to come back, play for England, play for my club. I wanted play for my club, play for England, get my England place back. And unfortunately, it wouldn't allow me. We have
but you did move to Queen's Park Rangers, didn't you, in 1979, Gordon, after Derby County?
yes, yeah,
So you did move on. So Queen's Park Rangers accepted you with that injury. I hasten to add.
yes.
What was your experience at Loftus Road? I mean, I know you mentioned earlier on you used to train there. You
Oh,
were
I
there in
played.
your younger
I was a
days.
schoolboy. I was a schoolboy there. Well,
Exactly.
you know,
Got a
and
full
I
circle now.
on a
Back at
full circle. I come back. I did. I wanted to play. It's funny, but when somebody tampers with your body in that way, and the surgeon goes into
Mm,
you, there is something that's missing, and
yeah.
it's not your body. And when they done that, and I never had what I had before, I was 80%, but I wasn't 100%. And in them days, the doctors would pass you to get rid of you. Oh yeah, he's okay. He'll be all right. But they didn't really know the extent of it. And and then in them days, the doctors and the surgeons really didn't combine. They didn't get together.
Yes.
Your doctor, oh well, we're not going to go to the surgeon yet. When today's day, surgeons immediately brought in straight in.
Yes.
Okay,
They are.
this
Yeah.
is it. And now, I mean, that's football, that's progression. But to me, that was a biggest killer because I would be at Derby. I would finish not training. I would finish treatment all day, day after day after day after day. My
Mm,
teammates were going past me. They were going. how's it coming on? How's it coming on? After a while, it just got me down and down and down.
It would do,
I,
yeah.
I thought like how to keep my spirits up. I went home. I was in a hotel. I had managerial problems then as well. That came on top. That really slaughtered me. And all I wanted to do was get playing, playing, playing again. And I didn't. And I was on the medical bed and they would say to me, "You ready?" No, I'm not ready yet. No. And then all of a sudden, like and I'd go out in the evening because I was on my own. I would sit at a wine bar and
Oh,
I'd have a glass of wine. I'd sit there and I'd go home. And I'd get up next morning, go to the ground, get treatment, come back. And eventually what I did, it was myself. I turned around and said, I sat there and I just said, "What the hell are you doing?" Normally I've seen it with other players and everything else. And I
yes.
said, "What are you doing, Gordon? Your knees, you got to get fit." And this is talking to yourself. You're like mad.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you know, 1 minute you're top of the tree, next minute you're picking up from the floor. And I turned around, Russell, and I turned to myself and I said, "Gordon, if you're going to do anything, you've got to get yourself together and get out." And I turned the guy, waiter there, I said, "Right." There was a bottle of wine. I said, "There you are." I said, "Take that. You won't see me again."
Mm.
Walked out of that place there. I went to the club. I got trained hard. I got back. And then and the club said to me, "Okay," they just paid 275. I felt so sorry for the supporters
Yeah,
because I
indeed.
couldn't get
Absolutely.
out there. I couldn't do it for them. I wanted to do it for them. But then I went, "Oh dear, I ain't going to stay here." Never saw that. I don't even know which bar it was. Left that, went back to the club, got myself fit. Then I got a chance of a move to QPR to sort my marriage out in London. I did that, went back to QPR. Then I got, you know, Terry Venable said, "I'm going to change." I know Terry from when I was 12. So I said, "Yeah, I understand. I understand. You want your players in." Yeah. You know, I was playing with Clive Allen and people like that, fabulous young players coming through, fabulous. And then I went to QPR, and then I finally got, which was ironic, but I got a move from QPR to Montreal, who wanted to buy
Yes.
me 200,000.
Yeah, I
I
know. It's an
wondered
incredible
what
story, isn't it?
and I went, "What? Hold on a minute." And that's because I played in America before, and
Mhm.
Eddie Fonte, who was an old Charlton centre forward, was manager, said, "I want you here." And I went, Eddie, I damaged my knee. And I went to Harley Street, and the Harley Street doctor said, "You'll struggle to play."
Yes.
QPR got a private doctor to sign it all off. Terry Venable's part of that. And they got 125 because it was it. And I went to the States. But the ironic thing about it was when I got off that plane, I says, "I don't give a shit what my knee does now. I am now going to play. If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't." Well, Russell, I know it wasn't my fitness and getting back. It was up here that done
It
me.
was mentally.
It's a
You were
mental side
struggling.
of
Yes.
it. Yeah, I struck. I went there. I was leading goal scorer, even MVP, doing everything. And Marseille and Napoli said, "We'll buy you." I went, "Nah, no, forget it. I'm happy here."
Mm.
And it was like, why didn't I do that 18 months before? Because that,
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, Gordon.
oh,
But this was
is
a start of your next journey in football, where you literally became a bit of well, you were going around many clubs, weren't you? Really, in a way, because Montreal, after 5 games, the Manic released you to Chicago Sting. So you played the first 2 years.
sorry, how many?
I think it was after 5 games, wasn't it, for
No,
Montreal?
no, I played a
What
season. I
you
played
played
a
a
season
season a
and a
bit?
half. Yeah, I played a
Yes,
season. I was leading. I was MVP for everything, and I was leading goal scorer. And then,
yes.
but basically, the situation came was that I got a chance to go to Chicago Sting, who I played for before,
Yeah.
and one of the reasons why I came out of the Canadian was that the tax they were going to pay was too much. I
Mm.
wouldn't have made a dime. So I went to Chicago and I knew Lee Stern, the owner. So I went there personally, but Montreal was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And it
Yeah, I
wanted
forgot
to
to
be,
mention you were a lead scorer for the first year. So it was the second year you left, wasn't it? After about 5 matches.
yeah,
So you were there for just over a season. But yeah, and off you went off to Chicago Sting.
yeah. And then I enjoyed it. And then basically I came back to England, and then I went semi-pro. I went to FC, I went to, sorry, um, I went to FC20 in
You
Holland,
did, you did.
and I played there and I had a great time there. And I came back and said, right, okay, it was about 38, 39. I went, okay, enough's enough. I helped Stewie Pearson at Northwich Vic. And then I semi-pro, and I started in the semi-pro at Southall, and I finished in the semi-pro with Northwich and Stafford Rangers. And it was great because, I could then go back and see games that I liked to play, and I remembered, you know,
Yes,
so a full, complete circle.
it was
And
a
now,
full, complete circle.
now I develop young players.
Oh, this is fantastic. And that's in the States, isn't it? So you played under Stuart Pearson, of course, your former
Yes.
player at Manchester United, at Norfolk Victoria, before retiring from the game. I mean, what was the key decision to retire? We know what it was. It was obviously your injury. Um, it's never an easy decision, though, to retire, is it, Gordon? That's the thing.
No,
It's a
it's not.
difficult one, isn't it?
No,
Because
it's
it's sort of
very,
been your life for such a long time.
yes. I think it happened when I was a player manager and I was
Yeah,
producing player and doing it. And then all of a sudden, like the players that shouldn't be going past you are going past you. And you're reading
yeah,
as a player manager, it's one of the hardest things to be able to do, to actually try to give instructions, but don't you forget them yourself. You're on the field as one as them, not off the field on the sidelines orchestrating it. And I was on the field and I was there. And if I didn't pick somebody up, I was to blame, so to speak. So that really told its story to me. And I
yes,
just like, I don't want to be a player manager because I want to be able to orchestrate from the sidelines. And
quite
that
agree.
really paid to that, but I'd still be out there training and doing everything with the boys because I couldn't get
Yes.
enough of, you know, just had to
Well, it's
be
your
careful.
life, isn't it? Just to be
It's
careful, you
it's your
say.
life, and don't care what anybody says. It's your life. When you should give up, you should retire. No, retire when you want to retire.
Mm,
Enjoy as
quite
much,
agree.
as we say. Enjoy as much as you can get while you can, because it
Yeah,
won't
you
be a.
certainly have. You
And
can't look
that's
back, Gordon, can you? You really can't look back. And of course, it's not just a play inside. I mean, in the summer of 1991, you did take on the role as managing director, head coach, and player, believe it or not, a truly multifaceted role of the Nova Scotia Clippers in the
a
team's
new
only year
franchise.
in the Canadian Soccer League, where you took
Yeah,
the club to the playoffs. I mean, crikey, you did well there, really, didn't you? I mean, how difficult was it to transition to this level of both management and player, Gordon, from what you were doing previously? It's a big role, isn't it? Director,
yeah.
coach, player.
Well, basically, what you're doing is you're really, even though it was in the Canadian Pro League,
Yes,
you was trying to make it as professional as possible and instigate as much as you could from the pro world. So
yes.
that's what I was trying to do, and then I would then be able to deal with players not on a very small scale, very small budget, but get the players that you could develop,
Mm,
and then you know develop them and get as far as you can, and leave the club in a good state so that you could start again and again and again. But there again, it was all about. It was a Scotsman, Stan, that was the
mm.
owner, and unfortunately, Stan ran out of money,
Yes,
and
sadly.
and it was sad because we were playing Vancouver, and people don't realize Vancouver to Nova Scotia is 6 hours flight. That's
Incredible,
across
isn't it?
Canada. That's
Yeah,
incredible. So,
it is
and
incredible.
he told me after we played a game in Toronto, he said, Gordon, he said, please don't beat this team today. Well, that's like, hey, you got no chance to me. Oh yeah. He said, and I said, Stan, don't ask me that. I said, I'm a professional. Regardless if we lose, I'm a professional. You are never going to get that. So, and I said, can you tell me why? And he said, yeah, he said, I can't afford to send you to Vancouver. And I
Oh,
went,
what a story.
well, I went out, I scored the first goal, 1-0 up. Half time comes, he comes steaming through the doors and has a go at me. And I said, Stan, whatever you do, don't come in and tell me to give away to game. I don't
Yeah,
care.
exactly. That's not good behaviour.
Don't ever. But bless his heart, he understood. And we lost the game 2-1. And I let all the boys go that lived in the Toronto area. And I went back to Nova Scotia and the other players. And then it folded. And then they've now just started another team there now. But
Oh wow.
first one there, I scored the first goal. So, it was lovely to do, lovely to be
Yes.
a lovely experience. And I think that's what has given me now my drive to develop.
Yes, let's talk about your development, because that's what you're doing now, isn't it, out in America? You're developing football for the youngsters.
Yes.
So tell us
Yeah.
about that, because it's a fascinating story, because you're still doing it now. It's what you do as a professional now, isn't it? You're still in football and you're
Yes.
developing young players within the game of the United States, I take it.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first came over, we used to do sessions all around the city,
Yes.
promote the game, head tennis and bits and pieces, go into schools, and the talent's here, but it
Mm,
wasn't developed. And so I said, what I'll do is, when I moved here, I said, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop and help develop players for the future. Doesn't matter, because the game is so worldwide now that doesn't matter which nationality, there's players that can play. So I set myself up for about 10, 12 years now, at just a small little company called United Sports.
mm,
I now develop, I now advise, I now help young coaches get into the game, and try to be a plus, But I'm very critical if somebody comes in and starts to blow smoke. I
mm.
I put that fire out and tell them, hey, listen, this is the game.
Yeah.
And so I develop young players. I have some young players all over the place, and I don't need I don't want anything. I'm just a thank you. That's all I
Yeah.
need. And I enjoy watching it, believe it or not. I enjoy
No, I do
watching it.
believe that too. I do believe that as well.
You know?
Again, you as a young player, you knew it all as a young player. You came through as a young player, and to be able to develop young players as you're doing now and seeing them grow into potentially real assets in the game, that
Yes,
must be quite a fascinating thing to go through. It must be really enjoyable part of what you're doing today,
it is.
watching young
It is
lads grow.
it's exciting because, as I
Yeah,
said, you can see certain things that you did,
exactly.
and you see certain traits that you want them to get. And then you see the ones that want it, the ones that don't want it, the ones
Mm,
that are boisterous, the ones. So you can put all those characters and
mm,
and you look at them and you go, he's got the talent, but you can't go out and say he's going to do this, he's going to do that. That you can't do that. You can just say, I tell you what, like, he's got a talent, but it has to be developed.
mm.
It has to be developed in the right way. Otherwise, we see some of these players turn out the way they are. And I look at them and say, I can't play for you. I can't wave a magic wand, but
Mm.
I'll help you get as far as you like.
You can give them the training and give them all the
Yes.
worldly knowledge you have, and not just
Yeah.
physically develop their skills, developing their mindset too, isn't it? So it's
Yeah.
it's both the physical, the skills, the mindset. It's a whole raft
Absolutely.
of
It's the
development
four, it's the four
aspects.
months that there are four factors that you think of
Yeah,
as a pro coach or a coach: technical, tactical, physical, psychological.
yeah,
Technically, I can
exactly.
teach you. Tactically, I can help you get a game. Physically, anybody can run you around a field. I can't give you heart.
No,
That's the psychological side of it. I can't give you that.
you
So
either got
people
it or
say,
you haven't.
you either got it or you haven't. And
Yeah,
and, and it's football is a simple game complicated by coaches.
yeah, it is. I would agree with you.
And the simpler that you can keep it, the better it is, And that's you'll always hear pros, especially in my world where is keep it stupid simple. Keep it
Yep,
simple, stupid.
yep,
Keep it as simple as possible. That's why you're here on teams. Play it easy. Why is he a good player? Because he plays it easy. He plays it, y- you know, And that's what people say to me. And I just say to them, you can't do anything in this game if you haven't got the first touch.
Yep, the first touch is very important, isn't it?
It's the
I
most
always
important.
remember being told, "Play the simple ball, Russell. Play the simple ball."
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah,
exactly
that's
right.
it. It
And
goes
then,
back, doesn't it?
they don't adhere to it sometimes. So you have to prove it. So I prove it to them why it's
Mm,
a simple ball and not one that, you know, and that's nice because once they grab hold of it, it's like turning a light on.
yeah.
Tonight when I train, and I know it's your night time, but tonight I've got 125 kids in four
Wow.
different age groups. I've got under 10, under eights, under 10s, under 12s, and under 15s. And they're all different levels, but they've all got to have the first ingredient. They
Mm,
must be able to look at that first touch. And I work
yep.
with the baby's first touch, then I increase it, increase it, increase it. And it's great. It's really great to see them and a smile on their faces when they do something nice.
Yes. They go home, they probably think, "Wow, I've done that today. I can really play this game. I want to go back tomorrow or whenever the next training
Yep,
session is and
yep,
do something
yep,
else and
yep.
improve
That's that.
myself." Yeah, it's giving them the confidence, isn't it, really, Gordon, as well? You've got to give them the
And that
confidence.
you don't know and you certainly don't know what's coming through
No, I
the
agree.
next generation. You're playing with the next generation, you know.
And who knows who you might have coming through? You might have someone coming through that becomes the next world star on the world
Brilliant.
stage.
That's brilliant.
That's
I've got
fantastic.
players that are playing now that are, making their way. Good luck to them.
Yeah,
I've given them the path. It's
yep.
up to them. They just go and produce it, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely agree
Nice
with
and
that.
peaceful. You know.
And as long as they can look back as well and say, "Well, you know what? I wouldn't be if it wasn't for Gordon Hill." That'd be nice too, wouldn't it? So
Yeah, I
you're doing
don't.
the right things.
All I do, Russell, is really say thank you. Just
Yes.
say thanks, Gordy, and they call
Yep.
me Gordon.
Yep.
I don't. I'm never called coach. I won't be called a coach. I don't want to be called a coach. I just want to be called Gordy. Why?
Yep.
You go to a tournament and you shout coach, and everybody's head turns.
Yeah.
You say Gordy, I'm the only head that will turn.
Yeah. That makes sense, doesn't it? It's good
You know,
tactic. Good policy.
yeah, yeah, it is. It is, and it's
Fantastic.
respect as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Agree with
the
you.
career's been up and down, and as I said, it's up. It's at its ups. It's at its downs. It's got memories that I will never, ever, ever forget and cherish. I've got, like yourself, four grandchildren
Yes.
that I now look at and
Wonderful.
love. Two are in England and two are in the States, but they know where Granddad is, and if I can, I'll always help them out. I'll always help them out. I'll help anybody in football.
Yes, of course you will. You're a good man, Gordon. You're a good man. That's what comes
Right.
across loud and clear from this podcast talk show. There's no doubt about that. And you know what? We've done must be an hour and 20, 25 minutes
Yeah,
now. I just looked at the clock thinking, "My God, where's that time gone?" It's
I
incredible.
know.
It's been a great story, isn't it? I mean, really, I mean, you must have a sore throat. You
No,
spoke so well, and your history and your stories are fantastic. They truly are.
well, I'm glad that I spoke to you and we straightened out Staines Town.
Well, everybody talks about it. When I did the research, there it was, Staines Town, and I put out a post. I think it was on LinkedIn, or that might have been actually
Yeah,
Facebook a few days ago. And some guy came back and said, "Oh, you do realise you played for Staines Town?"
yeah.
So
Well, tell you what, yeah.
people, it's there, isn't it? You can't get rid of it. It's like
They
indelible ink.
talked. I get on my Twitter. I have about 50,000 Twitter followers, and
Yes,
someone says, "I remember when you played for this team," and then I just say, "I'm sorry to repute,
disappoint you.
but I didn't play for them." Oh, you didn't? Well, someone said. Someone
Yeah,
said. It's always someone said. Someone. It's always hearsay.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah, it's been great, and I have now my own, United Sports, and I take tours, I do developing,
wonderful.
I after dinner like I do now,
Mm,
and I just tell the truth. I just tell
yes,
how I feel. I don't beat about the bush. I don't drive around in Marcus Radford's three Rolls Royces. I've got a bike, and I'm happy.
As long as it's a push bike, not a motorbike, that's good,
It
isn't it?
is a
Keeps you
push
fit.
bike.
Good
Yeah,
for
it is.
you. Good for you, Gordon.
It's
That's it. I've got
right.
2
It's
push
right.
bikes to the side of me here I
Yes.
use, but
I'll go now, and I'll do an hour's training before I go and train the
wonderful.
kids. I'm
Good for
still
you.
doing my business. Hey, look after the main thing, and that's the heart.
Absolutely. If your heart's strong and solid, then your mind will certainly be okay, and you'll be okay generally, just and have a good life, good long life. I quite agree with that.
Yeah,
Fully,
I really
completely.
do. So,
Well,
perfect.
actually,
Sweet, so I'm happy.
good for you, Gordon. Would you mind staying on for a few seconds whilst I wrap up? Because
Yes,
I
of
need to
course.
close this. We've been on for such a long time. It's great. It's a lovely show. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great conversation.
Yes,
So as
thank you.
always, indeed. So as always on the World of Lord Russell podcast talk show, we could talk forever, Gordon, and we certainly could. I mean, that's obvious here. We could. An incredible life story about your life as a hugely talented and successful professional football player. Winning the FA Cup at Wembley is every young person's dream, isn't it? We have to admit to that one. It's been a huge pleasure as always, and as always, the pleasure is all mine. And of course, the show's audience when this podcast is released on the World of Lord Russell podcast talk show and the Lord Russell Baker YouTube channel. Thank you, Gordon. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you Gordon Hill. There's a huge round of applause here. Look, fantastic. What a great show. Top
Thank
man,
you.
Gordon. So the next episode on the World of Lord Russell podcast talk show is the natural Soto Zen Buddhism way. Yeah, non-football, non-sport this time, where my special guest will be Matt Ambrose, who is a seasoned business strategist specializing in acquisitions, market expansion, and financial education for digital and service-based businesses. Matt Ambrose has huge experience across business startups and established enterprises. Matt Ambrose has trained teams in strategic planning, management frameworks, and operational efficiency. So another great show to look forward to for everyone. And of course, exclusive on the World of Lord Russell podcast talk show. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing you all on the inside. So until then, it's au revoir from him and au revoir from me.